Well, I've got a bit of a job breaking out. A friend of mine's wants a kind of vintage coffee table making up. He asked me to make him up a set of legs. Anyway, I got this tripod that I picked up at a local auction. It's got a bit of age to it, and I think they're cast. I don't think they're forged. Weighs a bloody ton. It's about 65 kilos. I'll just go all the nuts off it. That one's a square one. And he's putting that wheel on it, which is off some kind of agricultural implement. And then he's going to put a piece of glass over the top. Just come round here. The original plan was to have it so that this geared section was on the top, but I can only do that if I machine off the whole back of that, and I'll be brutally honest, I can't get that in any of my machines. It's 30 odd inches across, 34, 32 something. So we're going to basically truncate the post out the middle of the tripod, drill a hole in the end, put a spigot in and a clamp bolt, and then pick up the hole on the centre of that, so that the gear section, that bit, will be inside there. Anyway, we'll get the legs off and mark it all out. Well, I've got the legs off, and they're held on a T-bolt which fits in there, and then as you tighten it up it clamps, so you've got a degree of adjustment. He wants it at its bottom, so that adjustment's pretty much gone. It's I don't know what it was off. I suspect it was at the bottom of an very old. I actually thought concrete mixer, but I'm probably wrong on that, because it's got little tiny casters underneath. Yeah. Anyway, we'll see what we find out. This might take some time. I really need to get that saw stripped down and repaired. It looks like it's cast steel. Might be cast iron, but I'm thinking cast steel. We'll see. Before anybody gets excited, I've already drilled a 1/2 inch pilot hole. I just haven't got a end mill that'll do, slot mill that'll do this, so I'm having to use this one. Well, it's gone full depth at 1 inch diameter, which I reckon will be enough. If I put a nice decent piece of steel as a plug and then step it out to 1.5 inches for the stub on the hub, I'll be surprised if 6 cups of coffee will knock that over. Anyway, gonna have lunch now. That's took longer than expected. It would have helped if I'd have got a 2 flute that I could have drilled straight in with it, but I hadn't, so there was a lot of messing about. And I know the phrase clearance is clearance, but let's have a look. There's about 1/4 inch underneath the Clarkson chuck to the tabletop. I should have packed that up a bit. Anyway, we got away with it. Yeah, so next job's make up the hub stub axle. So these are the fixings that hold the legs onto the central spigot. Let's look at the profile of that thread. I don't know what sort of pikey cut that's supposed to be, but it's knackered anyway. So I've got to try and make up something suitable. So I'm going to get some 5/8, or a bit less than 5/8. I'm going to get some 5/8 bolts and then grind them. Annoyingly, I've got some M14s, but they're 1/2 inch too short. Bugger. Well, that took longer than expected. So that's the boss which fits through the axle, or it's the stub axle for all intents and purposes, and it can be locked in with a screw in there. Checked it all for fit, and it's nice and snug. So next job is make up some plugs to fill the where the wheels came off. That's tomorrow. Well, that's it, finished. It's not a huge amount of work for me, it's just a lot of heavy lifting about. I've left the pin that I've made, the axle, I've left it as unpainted ropes. You might want to leave it silver, you might want to paint it black. I can let the owner sort that out. Yeah, looks alright. Nice little sushi table. It's going to get a piece of toughened glass cut. I think he should get it so it sits inside the rim, but I think he wants to get it overlapping down the outside. Looks well though, doesn't it? So I've just pulled out the core plugs. I say just, it was a bit of a wrestling match. The middle one had been replaced not that long before the thing was taken out of service engine. The other two, bit of corrosion on them. Not that bad, still plenty of metal left. A lot of or fair degree of corrosion inside. So I'm wondering whether to give it a flush with something, and in which case what. Because I haven't got the facilities for bathing it. So I don't know. I mean, I can flush it out with water, and I've got some rust nibbler, but it needs to sit in it. So I'm a bit of a loss. I don't know whether I can flood it in and then sort of lay it on its side, but I need I've got a feeling that I'll be pushing it in one end and it will just run out the bottom or out to the other end. Any thoughts? Well, that was a bit of a palaver. I had to take the engine off the stand because I want to scrape this gasket face off. The plan this weekend is to get it all cleaned up, mask it, and then get some spray paint over it. So I bought some engine enamel, I think it is, from these guys. I've used them in the past and I found the paint very good, but I've never ever sprayed it or any spraying. So got a bit of work to do, but I figured if I can get some paint over this and learn how to use a spray gun with a compressor, it'll stand me in good stead for putting some dribbles and orange peel over the rest of the bodywork. I've just had a visit from Carl, who's staying in the cottage. He's come in, said hello, had a look round with his daughter. Nothing fell on him, so I count that as a win. I'll leave a link to his channel at the bottom of the video. Well, I've knocked all my knuckles, worn down 2 brass brushes, but I think that's pretty much prepped for painting. I'm going to give it a wipe over with some solvent and mask off all the bits I don't want to get paint on. And then I've got to work out how I'm going to hold it. So I've got to paint basically this side, bit at the end, and the other side. That end's all covered, so I'm not bothering with that. And the paint's not bad on it. It's on. God, I hate this sort of stuff. Well, the morning's come. I've dug out the compressor, made sure that was working all right. Found out that the water separator regulator I bought, I need another bloody fitting for. Isn't that always the case? So I've just been using airline regulated pressure at there with no water separator. Messed about with the gun. Now, I wasn't expecting great things because that gun was free with the compressor. The lack of adjustment on it would suggest that it's pretty basic. Paint flow is either full on or off, so that needs addressing. Other than that, that's about it. But we're only painting the engine block. Now the lighting is horrible, and as a result it looks all right on that side. This side, however, we've tried to match the original paint finish, complete with dribbly bits and some what appears to be separation of the colour pigment. Anyway, I'm not overly fussed. It looks better than it started, and it's just proved that I do need to buy myself a half decent gun if I'm going to do the panel work. So that's had one coat, albeit quite heavy, of that stuff, and it's, what do they call it, something gold, metallic gold lining enamel gloss. Yeah. Hardest bit I got was just trying to get a decent fan out of the gun, because it's not A, me not knowing what I'm doing, B, don't know how thick the paint or thin the paint is, so I don't know what I don't know. Beats brushing it on though. I'll just give it another dusting over, or sprayed some globules at it. What have I learned? Trying to get the paint viscosity something like is key, and I need a lot of learning on that one. You can see that I'm light here and down here, and I've missed that end bit. But again, I'm not really that bothered at this stage, but it's a useful understanding. I think with a better spray pattern, I'd have got it on the back stroke. But anyway, I'm going to call that done. I've got to let that harden off now for a few days, well, which time I expect the crank to be back. In the meantime, I've got to work out how I'm going to change the camshaft bearings. Once they're changed, basically start building the thing up. Well, bit of cleaning I think later on. Not going to do much in here until that's gone touch dry, then we'll take it from there. Looks like I haven't shadow or what? Oh no, it's shadow. Yeah, it's a lot to learn on spraying, isn't there? Anyway, I've had a good look online and I've seen some better guns which I could pick up. So I might get a better gun before I start doing the next bit. And then I'm going to do a bit of research and ask these guys. I mean, this paint is an enamel paint. It's designed for brushing. You can spray it, but it's designed for brushing. So it's obviously quite a thick paint that you put on quick and work the wet edge. Maybe an auto paint would be better. Had a long look online at 2K paint packs for bodywork, and I must admit I don't really fancy the health implications of the isocyanate content in them. I haven't got extraction booth and all the rest of it. 1K looks okay until you start looking at the details of the preparation involved, and it's about 6 bleeding coats of stuff to get over dents and whatever. So I'll probably stick with this enamel paint. And there's 2 suppliers I found. There's this one, Paragon, and there's another guy called firm called Paintman Paints, and they do it. Both do a Land Rover limestone. So we shall see. It's a bit of a way off yet, so I ain't got to worry about that yet. Yeah, so we're having a look at the it's a clutch housing. So it's an alloy. That stud has been broken out by somebody with the, let's just say, a firm grip. So you can see the crack here, and it runs down to here, and then even when the stud's in, it's wobbling about. I haven't got any helicoil gear, so what I'm going to try and do, grind it out, and then basically try and clean out the hole, and then plug weld it, then drill and tap it again. So just to make sure I don't cock it up, I'm going to make a little pattern that picks up on that hole, and then it'll give me the hole centre for that. so I can re-drill it all right. So that is the plan. I bought some TIG wire, which is suitable for cast alloy. With a bit of luck, it'll work, but I've never done anything with alloy, so I've got to go and find a bit of scrap casting and get an idea as to where the hell to start the settings, and actually see if I can plug a hole. But either way, I've got to seal up the crack, which means grinding them out and filling them. Should be entertaining. Well, I did the outside first, and then I've pinned it, filled up the V that I cut on the outside. I've V'd that inner ring out and filled up the arse end of it best I could, and then the inside of the crack. So bit of grinding work, and then we'll drill and tap it out. Hopefully we've got enough material in there to get a thread. So we're up on the drill. I've dressed it so that it's not high. It's possibly slightly low, but it's not a gasketed fit. Not whether you can see in there, but that's not bad material all the way down. There's a bit of a gap, that bit. So I'll run the tap down it now, and job's a good one. Well, that's the hole, which you can see for yourself isn't aligned. I've absolutely no idea how that's happened, because the centre drill and the drill went directly through the hole I marked. So I've got to stretch the hole. I've done it twice. I am now going to stretch the mounting hole on the bell housing. All the others line up. It's fairly annoying, that. Well, it's gone on. Slid on nicely then. I only took a few thou off, that's all. Anyway, I'm going to call that done. So when mounted on the engine, that should go on smooth. Not a lot of clearance at all. I actually wonder whether the original holes were 3/8. Obviously we're stuffing through an M10, so that's going to reduce clearance even more. Because this is that's off a much later model, sort of late 80s and early 90s, whereas that mid 70s. Righto, enough waffle. Let's go and get an upload sorted out.